Welcome everyone to another episode of All About Teams, where we meet with guests chatting about anything around teams, team development, team performance, team engagement. Today we are really happy. We are joined with Bram, who's coming from Skyline Communication. Hello, Bram. How are you today?
Hi, good morning. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much. And today with Bram, it's going to be really interesting. We're going to dive a little bit more about working with teams, more specifically teams in the software development industry, looking at squads actually, and having a focus about how do you build self-organized and autonomous, agile teams in his organization. Bram, I've been working with you. I know you quite well. I think not everyone knows you. Before we get into the nitty gritty details,
Yeah,
do you want to say a few words about who you are, what you do, what is Skyline Communications doing?
yeah, sure. My name is Bram de Blok. I've been an agile coach for 3 years. That's when we at our company started our agile evolution. And before that, I was a software developer for 10 years in the same company. And yeah, I got somewhere sick and tired of only coding. I wanted to start working with people. And
Nice.
even before our agile transformation, I had this talk with I remember with our CIO, Bert.
Yeah.
I'm looking for something else. And he said, can you hold on for just 6 more months, 1 year? We're doing this thing called Agile. I think you'll be fit for Agile coach. Hey, voila, here I am, Agile coach now, full time. Uh, yeah,
Good.
since a couple of
No,
years.
thank you so much, Bram. And so I hear a bit of an accent with you when you speak. Where are you based there, Bram?
Yes, I'm from Belgium. I'm
Okay.
Flemish and West Flemish even, so my accent might be a bit harder than the usual Belgian accent. Same for our company. Our HQ is in Belgium, but we are actually a global company. We have offices
Good.
in Florida. We have people in Russia, Colombia, all over the world, really.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much, Bram. I think it's great for the viewers to learn a little bit more about you and about Skyline Communications.
Mm.
We always like to start with this one question first, which is, what is either your best memory you have working with a team or being part of a team, or maybe the kind of worst memory? And we had some really funny anecdotes from some of the guests. So, what is it then from for you?
Now, it's easier to say a success, but I'll go for one of the worst memories in
Nice.
coaching a team. Um, yeah, we did this exercise with the team where you say, okay, we have these types of roles in our team, and we have these types of accountabilities, and physical paper sheets with
Mm,
words on them. Put them where you think the accountabilities should be. Is this for the developers? Is this for the product owner? Is this
okay.
for a manager, etc.? Put them where we are right now at Skyline. And then the next part of the
Mm.
exercise is put them where you think they should be if you are fully agile. And then there was I said, haha, this is wrong. This should be this accountability should be for that
Yeah.
person's role. And they said, yeah, why? And I couldn't figure out why that was. And I had the worst possible answer because it's in the Scrum guide.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
know.
it.
I never do that. Then I lost them completely. Yeah, so that
Oh, okay. Was
could be
that?
that.
I guess it was one of the like at the beginning of you moving into the agile or in agile coach
Yes,
or.
I
All
like
right,
to believe
cool,
I have
man.
learned from that experience and will not do that again. Yeah.
Well, I've been working with you and Skyline Communication. I know you have learned quite a bit, but I mean that's part of the process of learning as a coach as well. I mean, as a trainer, as a coach, and thank you for your openness and your vulnerability, sharing a bit this story.
Yeah.
Bram, that's good. How did you recover from that with the team? Are you still working with them or?
They were. I was part of that team, and now I'm kicked
Okay.
out of that team. But it was not related to
Okay.
that incident. I'd say no. I contact them afterwards. First of all,
Yeah.
thanking that guy for letting me know what's what, and that I should not reply with it's in the guide or whatever,
Mhm.
but really get down to what is the motivation behind
That's
that,
it.
of course. Yeah.
No, that's perfect, and I think it's a great segue to the other question that we had for you, Bram, because you're coming as a coach, which is a different role. We've had team members, we had people who were leading teams. The coach is a very interesting role because you're not fully within the team,
No.
and I think the question is within Skyline Communication, how do you approach role? What do you see your value is working with the teams at Skyline Communication?
Yeah. So what I do here is I go from team to team. We call them squads, indeed. I
Yep.
go from squad to squad, and I go in there with the notion, okay, I'm going to be here for just a few months. I want to boost them mostly in being self-organizing, being
Okay.
autonomous.
Yep.
And that's not by just rushing in as a bull and say, now you have to do it like this and this, and then you leave. And then that's the first thing they'll stop doing as soon as you leave. So lasting changes is
Nice.
my approach.
And so it's really about kind of growing the confidence of the team more than just giving them the answers. A little bit like what you were sharing in your in your
Absolutely.
first anecdotes. What kind of teams do you work with? And because I know we touched on it, I think it's always interesting to understand a little bit the complexity within
Mm,
or behind all of the organization. And I know your software kind of development company. You're saying you're working with squads. You're working between a balance between performance and agility.
yeah.
What kind of teams are you working with? And I know they're all remote and distributed as well with
Mhm.
the pandemic. So it's a lot of things. Can you tell us a little bit about the environment you are in at Skyline Communication?
Yeah, absolutely. I might have to give some context first on the kind of
Yes.
software that we create.
Yes.
We're a company with over 200, I think almost 300 employees
Mm.
here, all working in some part to actually one software product.
Okay.
And what our software does, we have a clear mission statement in Skyline. We ensure that our users can deliver exceptional ICT, media, and broadband services. So then
Okay.
you already know the industry we're in, and it can be very, very complex, the solutions our users need. Our users are like you're in Singapore right now. The
Yes.
biggest telecom operator, Singtel,
Yes.
is one of our users. You can
Okay.
imagine getting content, getting content from wherever they are filming or recording something to get that into your household. There's an army of devices
Mm.
between there and there. And what our software does is we create some kind of digital twin of all those devices, and that allows our users to have everything on one screen at their fingertips, know what's going on, and able to intervene if something goes wrong or before something goes wrong. So yeah, there's a lot of complexity there, a lot of different devices from different vendors. It doesn't matter to our software.
Mm.
We incorporate that. We track satellite positions, temperatures of devices, or the Earth is moving, a satellite is
Yeah.
moving, and we want to have that Wi-Fi every time. We don't want it to go down.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of challenges that our teams are presented with.
Okay.
And we have the biggest two teams that we have is the create teams. They create the core software. And then
Yeah.
we have our system engineers or deploy teams who create solutions with that
Yeah.
software
Okay.
for user.
Good. And so we heard a bit the word agile, and you said that your organization started the kind of agile transformation journey 3 years ago. There's always one question that I like to ask any kind of client or people that I meet that are within the agile is what exactly do you mean by this? Because I know that people have different kind of definitions. Um, what exactly are you chasing at Skyline Communication behind this concept of agility?
For us, it's actually being able to deal with the unknown.
Okay.
That's our biggest challenge, and that's what Agile is perfect for.
Yeah.
We have a complex environment, we have complex software, we have complex goals that we need to achieve. And as soon as we make a plan, we know, okay, we are making this plan with very limited information. Some of it will be even wrong. We know there are unknowns, and we know there are even unknown unknowns, and we
Yeah.
need to deal with all those things. And you can't do that in a traditional approach. You really need to have that agile mindset, work close together with their users, work close together with your teams, give them autonomy. Really, that's
Yep.
the biggest thing for me. Um, they know how it needs to be done. Give them the tools to do it. Really.
Good. And so diving a little bit more on this idea of self-organized and autonomy, that's what you just shared right now.
Mhm.
When you start working with a team, for instance, what are you exactly looking at in terms of building autonomy? What exactly does that mean for this team and for you when you work with them?
Yeah. Um, the best tip I could give here and how I try to do it is first, of course, you start with observing. And then you ask questions. You don't give answers. And actually, I try to give as little answers as possible during my
Mm.
entire coaching. You might say, that's an easy
Yeah.
job. But it helps with creating those lasting changes. You just ask, okay, why do you do it like this? Something they never reflected upon, and suddenly they start reflecting, and is that the best way to do it? Well, we've always done it like this.
Mm.
That's Then they know, okay, then they see my eyebrows go, we've always done it like
Yeah.
this. That's not the correct answer. They start reflecting, and they figure out new ways, and they don't know if that new way will be better, but we
Hmm.
stimulate them to, okay, just try it out,
Yeah.
and you'll see.
So I hear a little bit of a nudge, and it's interesting because when you're familiar with behavior change, and I'm pretty sure you are. Um, Whenever you want to kind of adopt a new habit, there's always the okay, we're going to be, for instance, reflecting and working with Bram, and that's we're going to end up on high. And for the next week or so, we're going to do it. But if we don't see Bram again, most probably we're going to go back to the old ways of working because that's just easier and more natural. And we don't want to go through all of the hustle of not knowing and changing ourselves and changing the team. And so I guess that when you work with them, you work on a longer period of time. And how do you help them not to go back to the kind of old ways of working, but really making sure that they are working towards this new horizon that most probably you have defined with them, Bram? And is this something that you see with some of the team and team members that you work with as well?
Yeah, I'm not perfect. Sometimes they do change back to old ways, but the things that last, the things that they keep doing, are the things where they really saw and felt the value. I had
Mm.
this one team where they've never done kind of a warm-up exercise before doing a retrospective, and
Okay.
we did it. Let's experiment. Let's do a warm-up. And I didn't tell them what the point is of doing that warm-up exercise. I just
Mm.
asked them, what do you think is the point of doing this warm-up? And they came up with great answers. Change our moods, get in the right mindsets, let go of everything we were working on, but come with a fresh mind, be more open with each other. Answers they came up with, I didn't give
Yeah.
them any of those answers, and that's one of the things they're going to keep doing because they heard each other. Okay, you like it because for this reason, you like it for this reason.
Mm.
Let's keep doing it, and that's something that sticked. And it's just a small thing, a warm up exercise.
It is, but I love what you're saying, and that's something that we feel very often as well, and that always amazes me, which is the actual ability for teams to come up with the answers themselves. Like
Mhm.
there's very little situation where they need you to give them the answer. And usually, as you were sharing, when you give the answer to someone, whether it's a team or an individual, um, it might work for a bit, but you won't get sustainable change or
Mhm.
sustainable results. But most of the time, they are able to do that. And the question becomes, and I think it goes back to the starting point of this conversation, which is it is more about facilitating the process and the discussion and the reflection rather than just giving the answers to the team so that they can kind of get there. Um, do you have some successes, for instance? And I guess you're working with a lot of teams. Maybe one of the team that you work with in the past few months, where you have been to make or how you have been able to make a tremendous change in how they work and helping them becoming more self-organized, more autonomous.
Mm. I'm already starting to glow thinking back of it, because I'm
I
very
see
proud
that.
of these guys. All I did, well, really didn't have to do that much, but really just ask questions. They started implementing more a Kanban style, and they had their WIP limits on their states of their tasks, and I just encouraged them to inspect their flow of tasks.
Mhm.
Okay, and then they saw, okay, or quality assurance column where we have to test our new features or issues that we fixed. It was growing out of capacity, and then,
Mhm.
okay, what can we do about it? Nothing. Only our one person in our team is allowed to give it a thumbs up. It can go through.
Okay.
The rest is okay. That person was overwhelmed, too much work, a couple of days on holiday. The flow was yeah, not less than optimal, let's say. And then they came up themselves. Okay, it's always been like this, of course. Does it have to stay like this? Can somebody else give a +2? Or
Mm.
yeah, a +2 means it can go on
Okay.
in our company. The quality is checked, and they checked with the director of quality, and it was not a problem. Everybody got elevated permissions to give
Mm.
the okay to go ahead. Um, Not with, okay, now everybody has to do it, but now you have the tools to self-organize. Who is gonna step in and help out more with the quality, with
Yep.
that flag? And even more proud, it's escalated more than that. Okay, so now developers and other people can give the okay for the quality. The quality people, the experts, can also now push code. They
Okay.
also got elevated permissions, and it's spread from that one team through the whole company, and everybody is
Ah,
now reassessing. Okay, we had the same issue. We had a bottleneck there, or we had a bottleneck more in the development parts, and yeah,
great.
pretty
And,
proud
and
of
and
that.
that's really now that's really kind of a virtuous circle. Like within the team itself, where it's a lot about empowering others to kind of make decision and delegate this kind of a
Mhm.
decision making process. But I love the value that you have, that a lot of organizations see as well, where you as a coach or even teams actually, when they're able to have one of the best practices, something that is done differently that works, how do we make sure that it becomes infectious, that other teams within the organization can benefit from this? I'm guessing that this is not always a simple work, and when it comes to challenges, and I know it's a big challenge for a lot of kind of agile coaches, but when you work with teams at Skyline Communication, what are some of the challenges that you usually face working with them?
Assumptions, making
Okay.
assumptions, I think,
Yeah.
is one of the biggest one, and the second is that resistance to change. It's
Yeah.
classic, but it's classic for a reason. Those are huge challenges for agile
Uh-huh.
coaches to help people grow, really. But still, there is, yeah, you have the best intentions, and they know, but still there is that resistance and assumptions. I have this great example of a squad um, that never did review meetings with users in there. And then
Okay.
you can doubt, is that really a review meeting then?
Yeah.
But there were these tons of assumptions, tons of reasons not to do it, not invite
Mm.
users. Are they're gonna go over budget? They're gonna ask new features, and we as developers, yeah, we're gonna say, yeah, it's 2 minutes work. Sure, we can do that. And then it turns out to 3 weeks of work, and then
Yeah.
unhappy users, unhappy development team, tons of assumptions as to not do it, and finally a few people of that squad said, let's just do it. We'll
Okay.
see. Maybe it's a one time and never again. Maybe it will be better than expected, and obviously it was much better than expected. Great users, Eule company, um, they really became part of the team, uh,
Mm.
thinking together with the developers, with everybody present. Okay, we were managed to do this. We didn't manage to do this, and we might have expected to be there. Okay, with that information, how can we still achieve your goal in the best way possible. And
Yeah.
we became one team. None of those assumptions came through, and they were glowing. They were really glowing. After they did that meeting with the users, they went back to the lunchroom, and it was the hot topic in there, and it spread again to other squads as well. And now people, oh yeah, we have 2 Japanese people joining our next review meeting.
That's
Yeah,
really nice. And you
yeah,
see the energy and the excitement.
yeah.
I want to go back to one of the things that you said, because I did it seemed that the turning point for this team was the let's just do it, right? That's the kind of turning point to move away and break this resistance through change. Um, how do you help teams get there? Because that's one of the biggest kind of challenge for a lot of coaches. Do you have a framework, an approach, beliefs, but how do you make sure that you can help the teams break through this resistance to change and kind of try out and experiment? Because as you say, it starts in the mind before it can be seen in actual behavior. So what's your approach to this, Bram, at Skyline Communication?
Yeah. What I do is just make it very clear that those are assumptions and that nothing bad is gonna happen. The worst that can
Mm,
happen is, okay, we have one bad review meeting, and okay, we'll learn from that.
yeah.
Really stimulate that failing is great. Actually, it's an opportunity to learn. If you don't learn from it and you make the same failures, that's not what I'm saying. Don't do
Mm.
that. But take some courage, and that's easier said than done, to do, and take risks. Know that you are supported and that you can fail. You will not get reprimanded or whatever. You will actually get encouraged. Okay, great. You failed. Great. What did you learn? Is there something you can share with the rest of the company
Mm.
from that experience? We really want to stimulate that. So that's my approach. Stimulate, it sounds weird. Stimulate failure.
No, I don't think it's weird at all. I think it's really aligned with a lot of things that we're here in the industry. I think a lot of people kind of use psychological safety. That's the kind of buzzword, but that's what you're saying.
Mhm.
And I think it's really important. It's great to see a company like Skyline Communication that is able to kind of create this environment, because for me as a team member, or if I am in a squad or in a team, if I don't know that I can fail, and I'm afraid that my boss or the CEO is going to come back to me because we made a mistake, um, I think it's going to be counterproductive, and I will never try anything else. So I think the question is not just about saying and talking about psychological safety. It's about being able to make that happen in the environment of the team. And I think this is where your responsibility and your work come in, Bram, as an agile coach.
Yeah.
There's another perspective that is really interesting to look at when you think about squads, and one of the key difference between a very standard team and squad is the role of leadership. And if you think about how teams were organized maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, it was very clear, and some organizations are still working with this, where you have the boss at the top and you have people with very specific responsibilities and some more people below it, but there's a clear hierarchy. When you work in some squad, and I think this is what you do as well in Skyline Communication, everyone starts to have some level of leadership responsibility. There's this idea of more shared leadership within the team, and that can be great if the team is mature. That can be counterproductive, because if the team is not mature, what you can see and what we see when we work with some team is that then suddenly everyone wants to have a say on everything, and you can't actually make fast decisions. And then it's almost the opposite of kind of being agile as a team. Um, what do you see with your experience working with teams when it comes to kind of shared leadership and the organization of roles and responsibility within agile teams at Skyline Communication, Bram?
Yeah. We also indeed stimulate. There is no one leader in the squad.
Mm,
Everybody is self-managing, self-leading, and I've also seen even not everybody wanting to push forward their own thing, but
mm.
nobody pushing forward their own thing, and that's also very
Yes,
counterproductive.
yes.
And there, what I do and stimulate there is okay, what is the risk of your decision that you're making? It will have zero impact. Just do it. You don't even have to inform anyone. Do it like that. Okay, there's a bigger risk. I'll still make the decision and I'll do it and I'll inform someone. You'll still get things done quickly,
Yeah.
and you just have to inform maybe some other people that are stakeholders there. And then the higher the risk, you can say, okay, let's just agree that if the impact is this or that, we're not going to take action, but we are going to decide. We are going to come with a proposal. Before we take action, we're going to, collaborate first. That's a bit my approach there.
How you do it? Good. The last point that I wanted to talk with you about, Bram, and especially in the context um, of agile teams, and I think you touched on this with the users, is the role of the customer. Because when you think and when you look at agility and agile teams, there is a place for the customer. There is this idea of co-creation, collaboration together with the customer. So the customer is not sitting outside. It's in some ways, and ideally, it can even sit sometime within the team. Is it something that you have been doing, or that you're on the way of doing at Skyline Communication? How are you working with this?
We're doing it, but we want to do a lot more of it.
Okay.
And the participation, the active contribution of our users is really crucial. We have this complex software, complex solutions that we want to deliver, and the days of okay, fine, me as a user, I'll reply to your mail if you have questions. That's not the amount of participation that's needed to really drive the value that we can deliver. We really need to have someone actively thinking, okay, we're going to use it like this. I see you have your software, you are currently at this stage. That inspires me to say, okay, we're going to drop option B. We're going to focus more on option C, because this and this. I'm going to give context to your developers as to why we're not going to work with 100 orders. It's going to be a magnitude of thousands. Take that into account. That's something that we are heavily investing in at Skyline. We're calling it the Agile Partnership with our users, to get them to really also set that mindset that really, when we're starting on this, it's a partnership that we need. It's not just okay. Old way of thinking. You guys are the experts. We pay you to do a job, and that's it. Leave me alone. We can do that, and we will have a friction of the potential value that we could have delivered if the user was actively participating.
No, that's that, and I love how you're ending this kind of answer is you're gonna miss out on the potential value, and that's the same thing when with teams. If teams always need a Bram or a coach to be able to work effectively, you're not going to be able to leverage the full value. And the question is about how can we help teams take responsibility for the development and help them become self-organized and autonomous, so that they can start working effectively without you. And I think there's even additional value, because if I understand how to do that with my team today, when I'm going to move teams, and we know that people change organization, change jobs within the organization, we'll just be able to kind of repeat the same process with other teams. So suddenly it's not just the team that you are in that will benefit from it, but other teams within the organization, and the organization as a whole. When you think about kind of team development or building self-organized and autonomous agile teams at Skyline Communication, what is so you said that integrating the role of the customer is one. What is the other key priority on your list that you wish your teams at Skyline Communication were doing a little bit more of?
Yeah, tough question. It depends on what squad, what team. You have so many diverse people, which is great. You get a lot more value with diversity as well. But it depends on the character of people as well, as to what could boost them the most. So that's yeah, something that you need to observe first and find out. I believe what we in Skyline can do better, we should do more of is it comes down to doing what we said earlier. Let's just do it. Experiment.
Mm,
Stop having those fears, those assumptions hold you back. Stop having those endless meetings after meeting after meeting, trying to
mm,
get it perfect before actually doing anything.
yeah.
No, go ahead with something that's not perfect. Learn from that, build on that. That's the biggest thing I'd like to see more here, and
Nice,
I would
perfect.
suggest to anyone. Yeah.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Bram. The last question for you, and especially because you're an agile coach, and I think I'm pretty sure you take responsibility for your own development as well. And and things are changing so quickly in the industry when it comes to agile, when it comes to team performance. How do you make sure you stay up to date with what's happening in other organization best practices in the market? What do you do from that perspective, Bram?
Yeah. I learn a lot from the teams as well, where I coach.
Yep.
That the bad example that I gave in the start, I learned a lot from that as well. And then, other than that, I try to attend as many conferences about Agile, learn
Mm,
what's going on, what are the hot topics currently in or the Agile evolution. Um, and I think it's a natural evolution where almost every company, oh, even bakeries have IT, or even without IT, doesn't matter,
mhm.
are going towards this natural evolution to me.
Yep.
Um, Other than that, I also started hosting a lean coffee meetup, where we
Nice.
actually, yeah, physical. Can you
Okay.
imagine? Again, physical. We can
Back
do
to
it.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
Good for you.
Uh, so that's just people, agile coaches, or just people coaches. Don't have to
Yep.
be any agile guru, not at all. Maybe it's the first time you hear of it. We get together, we drink coffee, we share experiences. Okay, what challenges do you have? Okay, I would
Mm.
approach it like this way, or not like that, or whatever. Get together like that, and that's how I try to stay learning, keep learning, stay
Nice.
involved. Yeah.
Great. The last question, and I think we're coming at the end of this interview together with you, Bram. Um, let's imagine that you have one person who's still listening to us, a new coach, for instance, or a coach that is working with their own organization and that wants to move towards building more self-organized teams.
Mhm.
What would be the top two or three key takeaway from this interview with you that this person could take back and start implementing or start doing with their own teams back in their organization, Bram?
Yeah. The first thing I think of that I think would be really valuable is observe. Don't first
Yeah,
start with observing. Don't try to change everything at once. It's not
mm-hmm.
gonna stick. Go slow. Take
Yeah,
one thing at a time. And the second, I think even the most important one that I would recommend to anyone is don't fix issues the team can fix themselves.
that's it.
Just give them that slight nudge, make it visible. Transparency is crucial in
Mm-hmm.
agile evolution. If you can't change something, just make it transparent.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, if you're gonna fix it instead of them, they're not. It's not gonna last. Okay, they say
They're not
okay.
gonna learn. Yep.
Yeah, they're not gonna learn. Just ask Bram to do it again if it happens again. But if you can say okay, you just go to that person and talk
Yep.
to them, that's gonna stick. They're gonna
No,
learn.
it's really nice. Thank you so much for this. And I think it reminds me of a discussion I had with and I can't remember who it was, but um, that person said that when almost when you are a coach or even in your job actually, um, it's really interesting to look at it from and ask yourself the question, how can you phase yourself out of the job, because this
Mm,
is when you have really been successful. And I think in some ways this is what you're saying. And there's always this tension because sometimes as a coach or when you're new in this element of team coaching or coaching, you think that the value comes in by kind of fixing issues, and you feel good because then the person or the team just gets better for a few days and you
mhm,
see the direct value, when actually it might not be, and that might not be the thing that you add a lot of value to the team. But what is really interesting is if you can help the team get to a place where they say, you know what, Bram, thank you so much. It was great working with you for 3 months. We don't need you anymore. because we are highly competent. Now you've done your job. And I think this
Yeah.
is what I get away from you. That's a little bit the ideal horizon that you can kind of aim for. But yeah, you
Absolutely.
just wanted to say something. It seems Bram, but no, yeah. So I think it's really interesting to look at it like this. Well, Bram, thank you so much for this video interview. We're going to be putting your LinkedIn profile as well on the script next to the video. If people want to get in touch with you, learn a little bit more about how you work at Skyline Communication, how you build self-organized and autonomous agile teams. Maybe join for coffee with you if they are in Belgium. That would be great.
Yes, very welcome.
All right. Thank you so much for today, Bram.
Thank you.
All right. Have a
And
good
it was a
weekend.
pleasure. See you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.